Hello, welcome to the Reframing Mindset podcast. We are clear my head of the thoughts that are preventing clarity, practice my speech, among other things. Episodes range from informative knowledge to funny stories about my experiences, and in the future, maybe include interviews. So subscribe and enjoy. Episodes drop every other day. Okay, welcome back to Reframing Mindset podcast. My name is Constant Brooks, and this episode I talk about the third week of the 95 experience. You know, we're in July, now we're in the summertime, and what happens is that a lot of festive stuff, kinda, kinda, at the place where they have these various stuff. So each day they have these stuff that you can wear, and I actually represented one of them. So like one of the days they had Jersey days, and if you know, back in the past, I was an athlete and a basketball player. So I decided that I was going to take my talent, take my jersey there and stuff. Because now, as I said, this 9 to 5 time around, I'm taking the time to actually go experience the life of being an employee. And so all those corny stuff that I would be like, oh my gosh, this is corny and why the hell would I do it? I actually just try to do it if I can, just to get the full experience, just to see the benefit of it. I actually see, you know, the benefit of doing those stuff. It makes you feel good. It makes. But the thing about it is that it's a double-edged sword in the sense that the thing about bragging, bragging brings envy. It's envy. So you have to actually create a culture where you don't the bragging don't actually feeds like you're bragging and stuff like that. You just go there and just have fun. And what I realized, most most of the because of the type of company it was, most of them actually never really took that jersey thing to the fullest. Like how, for example, a big company that is all about company culture would actually take it. But it's one of those things we realize it's in its infancy. The company is in its infancy when you look at the scale of our business is in its infancy. So the reason why I went to the company is completely different than what many of the employees there are actually going for. So so yeah, so the difference is but yeah, I actually like doing that, and I guess that would be an important part in the business of science and such as well. Not having the festive part of it. I mentioned fun, icebreaker and stuff like that. These other fun festive stuff as well would be important as well to having a business that is actually nice and actually enjoyable to actually comes, because you have the thing about it work is that you have the hard work, you're doing the actual work, and that part can be boring and stuff, the 8 hours tedious hours that you're there. You sometimes have something to actually lighten up the mood, so that you can actually just cool off, maybe in the break time and the lunch time, to actually get your mind off the hard work that you've been doing. So all these stuff, I'll go there and see that, oh yes, it's corny, but when you're actually doing the work now and you're going to this cruel hard 8 hours to make it not feel like slave work and stuff like that, you have to actually really just take the time to actually have these other stuff to actually get your mind off the work, that kind of cool you off. And also, because the thing about it is that when you're doing the business and stuff like that, you have to actually understand that the work that you're doing is important. It's important. So that's the thing, the difference between the slavery and stuff like that. You go there and understand that the work is important. You go there actually want to doing the work well. But you're not being forced to do the work. You see the vision as to why the important is work is important, and you go there and do that, and then what we the company would actually do now is find a way to actually knowing that okay, the work is a hard load and stuff like that. you put other things in place to say, okay, we're just giving you you don't we know we appreciate the fact that you're doing this hard work. We have some other things that you can basically do to have fun while you're doing the while not neglecting the work and such like that. And these festive stuff is kind of like some a way to actually do that as well. That's all we so I really understand that now. The next thing is, bro, actually lost my ID. Lost my ID, bro. And I had to replace it. And because I actually replaced it, it's actually going to be deducted from my pay to actually replace it. So that's something was that I actually experienced where I guess could be implemented in business as well. So like when you actually hire an employee, giving them all these benefits and stuff, and that is coming out of the company money. Those are expenses to actually give the employee a better quality of life. So those expenses are not turning the profit. Those are just making sure your employee having benefits and such like that. And then employee is human. Employee is human. So stuff like this happens. So where you lost your ID and such like that and you need it replaced. So what the company does is they replace it for you, but you actually have to pay for it because there's expenses that have to be paid. So they take out of the pay that you actually do. So that's something that could implement as well, where you get the tools and such. Like for example, when it comes to doing a science stuff, now we're going, you get your lab, your your signature lab code from the company brand lab code and stuff like that, and then boom, you actually destroy that lab code. Then you say, okay, we can give you another lab code, but it's gonna be deducted out of pay or stuff like that. Those are stuff that would be like, okay, yeah, so that's the how that goes. And you say, yeah. Mm. What else was ah yeah, so what happens also is like the new people being hired. So as I said, we're basically coming around a business cycle, and what happens is that we have new people that are being hired and stuff like that. So like it's kind of more packed more than in the middle part where it was more settled and such like that when I was a new employee. So new employee coming now, it's more packed and stuff. So it's like I'm getting more ingrained in the company. So that's the thing. The longer that you're there, you're becoming more ingrained in the company. And it's like, so yeah. I think about it is I actually need to actually stay in the company for a longer time. Just actually reach my goals and stuff. So you're becoming really a part of the company and such that and learn the culture and all those stuff. And you can't not be there and become part of the company. And that's that's the thing where they actually stay there, stay at a place for a while, become ingrained in the culture and be like, okay, yeah, that's actually that's roll. You have to just roll with it and stuff. And what happened is that also the third week I'm learning how to do more complex tasks as well. I'm doing more stuff. So for example, yeah, as I mentioned before, you're getting um there's certain, if you remember when I talked about incentive and stuff. So you get compensation and you get compensation to actually do certain tasks. And when I actually started the work, what I have was that, so you get compensation in there's a stat there where you'll be like, okay, you say boom. If you The less time that you have to actually get the person to another department, the less time, the the more that you actually get paid, because that would mean that okay, you can actually solve the problem yourself. You don't need to have to go to another department or something like that. What happened was that there are certain tasks that you have to actually send them to the department, because the thing is you're there to do certain product, but the company offers a various other products. So there are different departments that specialize to actually help assist them with doing that product. So what will happen is that what I realized was when they're getting the calls, they are coming from all type, and they are coming from all part of the business. And so you have to actually get them to some certain tasks. You have to get them to the right department so that they say, okay, yes, this is how to actually this is a specialized person to actually assist you in getting this problem solved. And because you're doing that, what happened was that your bonus gets lower because you have to be you're getting all these calls from things that are not relating to your job. So that's one of the things that I learned in the early part. We're like, bro, this kind of thing is kind of messed up. Not pay. If you're there for the money, you would always try to find some easy way to actually do that. So that what I one of the episodes I talk about the carrot and stick and such like that, you have to actually incentivize the stuff to actually do the right thing because you're not going to always get an employee like me that is going there to actually learn and stuff like that. Everybody, most of them are there to get the money and such. So yeah, you they will with this bad incentive, you're going to actually go there and boom, a lot of people gonna try to find tricks to actually get the thing low. And when they do that now, then the quality of the business goes low because they're doing a sloppy work, and that's how boom, our industry could get a bad reputation because the people are there going to focus on the money, they're doing sloppy work. That's how bad the reputation of a company goes. But what happened is that because I'm there longer now, what happens is that there are more things that I'm learning and being taught by the supervisor and such like that. So there's less things that I have to actually do to actually get into a different department because I actually know how to do it. And be like, okay, this type of problem, I would actually have to send the person over to a next department. No, I can do it and stuff like that. So there's actually less for compensation and stuff. So it's like me being groomed to actually become that role, or for example, become a higher role than a customer service agent because you're there so long, you're becoming groomed, you're becoming able to actually do more of the tasks. And then what happens is that you never know. Suppose I'm there for 2 years, I'll be able to eventually get to do the task that I came in as one of the other person hired that been there for a while doing, like a team lead or supervisor or such like that. Because what I'm being groomed to actually be able to do this task, so that boom, one day, if I stay there long enough, I could actually take the role. That's that's how it goes. So that's something else. And the last thing is the person that came in and trained me when I was doing train me, when I was doing the on the job training, and I became team member. He's back to actually training new employees again. So that's it. As at the business cycle again, you're getting new employees and such like that. And then boom, the person that you came in taught you, boom, you become a their you become part of the company, then they become boom part of your team and such. And just doing the work with them. And eventually, new employees come now. Then they have to say, okay, I have to go back to road to train a new employee to see which of the set is gonna last as long and stay. And boom, and that kind of explains to me how you actually have good how a company even though it's not be a company that is highly valued or such as that, how they have good, competent members is that you're getting a bunch of people there and you're training them and such like that. And what happens is that over time, the people that are not there for the right reasons, they kind of leave because the work is so gruesome and such like that. And we're like, oh, well, it's not worth doing me all these hard tasks and stuff like that. Then boom, you save out a lot of people. And then boom, out of like 24 people, like three or so remains, and those three or so remain become value members of the company, and then boom, they get the good compensation. And be like, yeah, and so that's I guess that's always called a business cycle or employee cycle goal and such. That's how you get them there and sieve out the right people and get a good employee and be like, boom, and such. And it's win-win for everybody. Yeah, so that's something I have to learn. Yeah, so that's basically it for this episode. Um, yeah, I look forward for the next episode. Hmm.
Well, this is the end of the episode. Thanks for watching and look forward for the next episode. To support this podcast, go to anchor.fm/cssb/support or become a sponsor for this episode. If you have a product that you want to have more exposure, DM me on the Instagram page, Reframing Mindset Podcast, or on Twitter at ReframingP. Either way would help. Thank you regardless for listening, and here's a preview for the next episode.
Toxicology, you know, as it's one of those as we talk about business of science. I have to, going through life as if you go through life long enough, and I said before, where this sad thing became a part of me and such like that. What happened is that all those terms you start to learn, you kind of see you if you live long enough, you see the real world understanding of it, of how to actually benefit you to actually make your, make like something like, for example, life expectancy longer, um, more quality living, and more quality use of the things that we are given, and such like that. And toxicology is one of those important things. And I did going to use this episode. Can I explain? Let's have a